Of the historic Six Nations rugby encounter between Ireland and England at Croke Park. Republicans are planning a protest as God Save the Queen will be played for the first time at the home of Gaelic Games, where 14 Irish civilians were killed by British soldiers in 1920. Our correspondent Shane Harrison is outside Croke Park. Shane, the Gardaí were criticised before when another Republican Sinn Féin protest got out of control. What steps are in place today?
Well, this evening's game, Jim, has been billed as the collision between hype and history over God Save the Queen being played at GAA headquarters. Now, from early this afternoon, people coming into Croke Park have been searched, and there's been a noticeable step up in security. Fans were asked to come early and not to bring any item that might be seen as a weapon. There was a small Republican Sinn Féin demonstration. They're among those opposed to God Save the Queen and indeed rugby being played at Croke Park. That's mainly because of events 87 years ago when British forces fired into a crowd at Croke Park and killed 14 people in retaliation for what the IRA did earlier in the day when they killed 14 suspected British agents. But so far there are no reports of any major incident.
And what about amongst the sporting fans themselves, Shane? What's the atmosphere like?
Well, the stadium behind me holds over 80,000 people. It opened 2 hours early and fans are still arriving in time for kick-off. But I have to say that fans from both countries have been mingling and joining in the colour of the occasion. They've all expressed the hope that there's no controversy, that there's no violence, that rugby is the winner and that everything passes off peacefully and people remember that it's only a game. And if there's one thing that they all agree on, it is that the two key players are Johnny Wilkinson and Brian O'Driscoll. So we'll watch the match and wait and see.
Shane, thank you very much indeed. Now, coverage of the match starts here on BBC One just after this bulletin.
Now, I'm sure you must have read in newspapers, heard on radio, seen on television, that the whole thing about today is it's so much more than just a game of rugby.
As I stood here on this spot in 1995 and watched my former teammates winning All-Ireland for Clare, I never would have imagined that what is about to pass could happen.
An England team will line up here and the band will strike up God Save the Queen.
Which is unbelievable, as this ground has stood for over 100 years as the ultimate expression of Irish rejection of all things British, and most especially English.
This is the Hogan stand.
This is Hill 16.
Names that mean so much in Irish political, cultural and sporting history. The War of Independence in 1920, more than a dozen British agents were killed by the IRA, and in retaliation, British troops entered Croke Park and opened fire on spectators and players at a Tipperary Dublin match. 14 were killed, and it may be 87 years ago, but for some, the memories are still very real.
The Dublin team had played on Bloody Sunday. This is my father here in the front row. The auxiliaries came in from the canal gate here and over the canal wall, and they just start shooting indiscriminately, just volley after volley of shots. My father was down that end of the field. Michael Hogan, the man who was shot, was right corner back. Immediately the shooting started, they fell to the ground, and my father was telling me that Michael Hogan inched his way over, that he was practically beside him over here when he was shot, he was killed. Well, as far as soccer and rugby coming in here being played in Croke Park, I personally have no objection. Now, as far as my father is concerned, I'd say there would be a big question mark there because of what happened here on Bloody Sunday. If you ask me for a straight answer, I would say he'd probably object.
France have already been here and won, and Wales are coming here to play football in a couple of weeks. But this is different. This is England.
A lot of our players probably didn't know anything about it at all, so it was just fascinating for them, and now they are well aware of it. And as with the Irish team, we just feel it's a fantastic honour to be allowed to play there. We're really looking forward to what should be a momentous occasion.
As it gets nearer, you know, we think think about whether people are going to sit down when God Save the Queen is being played or whether people turn their back.
The national anthem has been played in Dublin before, the English national anthem, and the English flag has been raised in Dublin before. I know it's going to be in Croke Park, but that's something I think, when it comes to sport, we have to look beyond those things.
I think we've moved on now from that, and I think the fact that the stadium's been opened up, everybody knows that every team that comes here, to any stadium around, when you play your game, you hear your own national anthem. And I think the majority of people here will accept that. I don't think it should be an issue.
People are sort of looking north and seeing Sinn Féin accepting the policing services, and we're asking the DUP and Sinn Féin to power share, and people are taking big steps, and perhaps sharing a sports stadium and standing up for somebody's national anthem isn't such a big step after all. It's part of the pace of things at the moment, and it's a good time to be changing.
Well, of course, one of the great things about rugby in Ireland is that Ireland have always played as a united team, and there's certainly a unity in Dublin today as a kind of statement to the world. Keith, this is an odd moment for you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's odd. I think it's fantastic, and I love the fact that today is coming to pass. I think it's an unbelievable step. And whereas some people are saying it's sport, and it's not. It's sport, it's culture, it's society, it's politics, it's everything wrapped up into one day. And there's an opportunity here for Ireland to take a huge step forward, because there has been huge progress in the north of Ireland, and an awful lot of that has to do with Ireland and England and Britain basically coming to terms with each other and sorting things out. And that's what today is all about.